Paul George, the star of Los Angeles Clippers, crushed the OKC Thunder on Tuesday night, scoring a season-high 38 points. With 18 of his 38 points coming in the fourth quarter, George comfortably defeated the Thunder in the closing minutes. After the game, Kawhi Leonard responded to a question about his standout teammate, George, by saying that George was just being himself, which let him get going. Just being himself, George, according to Leonard. Simply displaying aggression, he made shots. You just want that from him. He wrote plays. He also executed defensive plays. Let's learn more. Leonard discussed how George's style of play benefits the Clippers, saying it helps us win games, like it did tonight. His dominance of the fourth quarter and sheer will to win the game helps us go over the hump. The Clippers are unique among NBA teams in that they have a guy like George in the starting lineup alongside James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. On most teams, George would be the starting point guard. But on this Clippers squad, he can play off both Leonard and Harden, which gives him some of the purest looks of his career. The Clippers are rolling right now, and George's play is one of the biggest reasons why. Tuesday night, with less than 2 minutes remaining, the LA Clippers sought to seal the deal against the visiting Oklahoma City Thunder in one of the team's rare national television appearances. Paul George was in the right corner, and Kawhi Leonard was in the left as the shooting guard Terrence Mann encroached on the paint. To stop Mason Plumlee from receiving a potential dump-off pass, Luguentz Dort, the defender for George, rotated aggressively off George while Jalen Williams, the defender for Leonard, remained in a passing path. Mann kicked out to a stationary George, who switched in a catch-and-shoot three, his sixth of the contest, before scuttling up the sideline, satisfied that he had completed a crucial 128-117 triumph. Against the Thunder, George finished with a season-high 38 points, 18 of which came in the fourth quarter. It was the highest number of points George had ever scored in a regulation game without committing a turnover. After missing his first 5 field goals of the game, he finished with 15 of 24 field goals. George has averaged 27.4 points on 52.8% shooting from the field in 9 games in January. He also made 4.9 three-pointers per game on 47.8% shooting from a distance and has a 2.7 to 1.7 assist-turnover ratio. Under head coach Tyronn Lue, he is averaging the fewest touches per game while still enjoying this kind of success. And George is being unleashed in an increasingly off-ball role. I think he is being comfortable on and off the ball, Leonard said of George Tuesday. It's just who he is. It's why he is an all-star talent. It's why he has big games like this. George's scoring average dipped from 28.0 points per game in his final season with the Oklahoma City Thunder in 2018-19 to 21.5 points per game in LA in 2019-20. He felt like then head coach Doc Rivers could have used him differently. I feel like Doc was trying to play me as a Ray Allen or like a JJ Redick, George told former NBA players Matt Barnes and Stephen Jackson on the All the Smoke podcast. Well, pin downs. Like I can't do it, but that isn't my game. You know what I mean? I need some flow. I need some mixes of pick and rolls. I need some post-ups. Just different touches. Since Lue, a member of Rivers' staff that season, took over in 2020, George's offensive journey has evolved. During Lue's first season as head coach, George worked with then-assistant Chauncey Billups to become the team's primary playmaker, along with co-star Leonard. The result was a 5.2 assist per game average and George's only All-NBA selection as a Clippers in what represented a bounce-back season. George was set to take a further step as a primary playmaker in 2021-22, with Leonard missing the season due to right knee surgery. But while George averaged a career-best 4.7 assists per game, he also missed 51 games, primarily due to a torn ligament in his shooting elbow. Before Russell Westbrook joined the squad, George was utilized in a similarly demanding on-ball position when he returned to the team the previous season. At the trade deadline, LA traded point guards and Reggie Jackson, returning just shooting guard Eric Gordon and small guard Bones Highland, who prioritized shooting. George was getting tired of being the main playmaker at that point, pun intended. The day following the 2023 trade deadline, George said, "It would definitely improve our team if we had that traditional point guard to kind of get us into games, make a game easy, and support a Westbrook joining the Clippers." The Clippers doubled down on getting a true point guard when they acquired James Harden in the second week of this regular season. At first, the fit was a mess, with Westbrook, Harden, George and Leonard all needing touches. George led the team with 59.8 touches per game during Harden's first 5 games in LA, all losses. In those games, George's volume was adequate, team high 20.6 points, 2.23 seconds, 3.2 assists, but his efficiency was awful. 38.8% field goals, 26.8% 3 seconds, 3.4 turnovers. All 4 of the Clippers' stars had to sacrifice. Westbrook was the most immediate as he transitioned from starter to the bench to become the team's second unit point guard. Leonard's sacrifice came with being the team's starting power forward, often defending bigger bodies than a small forward typically would. Harden's sacrifice came in the form of decreased scoring opportunities and ball screens compared to his role with his previous 3 teams. George has been in the form of his touches. Since November 17, George is averaging 57.8 touchdowns per game, nearly 20 fewer than Harden in that same time frame. George has praised Harden for being the point guard, which has allowed George to get easier looks. When I first got there, we had a ton of talent as well, George said Tuesday when asked about the difference between playing off the ball this year compared to his first season with the Clippers. But I've been saying that James is just one of the best at playmaking and seeing the floor, reading the floor, and if they're going to double team Kawhi on a nightly basis, that leaves a lot of opportunities for me to be aggressive. And 9 times out of 10, I usually got the third best defender on the floor. So at that point, I feel like I can score on anyone. But if I got the third best defender on the floor, I'm ultra aggressive in those situations and the game just opens up for me. The biggest decrease in George's offensive usage has been in ball screens, only 19.6% of his possessions, and in fouls, turnovers or free throws attempts coming off pick and rolls per synergy. Overall, George's on-ball heavy possessions, that is pick and roll, ball handler, isolations and post-ups, are the lowest they have been by a significant margin in his Clippers tenure. In exchange for George working on the ball less often, he has been freed up more often to damage teams away from action. George is still being used in off-screen actions that recall the days of Allen, Radic, and even Landry Shamet or Luke Kennard. Teams have to account for George on movement actions. Because of how well George shoots and how frequently the Clippers put him in wears and pin downs to get him to his spots, opponents can overplay him. George has been more willing to cut than ever with the Clippers, and he has the passers who are able to use his activity as a 6'8", 220-pound target. Watch here as Toronto Raptors wing RJ Barrett anticipates George will use a man screen, with backup center Daniel Theis also wandering the perimeter in screen territory. Man even motions for George, but it is all misdirection. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it informative, then don't forget to hit that like button below. And if you want to stay updated with more great content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking the red button and just ringing the notification bell so you never miss any future content from us. Your support means the world.